Hey everyone, welcome back to another Mattel Hammond Collection review. Today we're taking a look at the Jurassic Park 3 Ankylosaurus. These new Hammond Collection figures, they've been quite the pain for us to get our hands on. Our Target pre-orders have been just sitting there forever since these things were announced, I think maybe 3 months ago. No sign of these things on the shelves in the US yet. I'm sure they're coming. I'm sure once they hit, they're going to be everywhere. But a little annoying trying to get your hands on these figures, especially with all the new announcements the other day. We're getting John Hammond, Dennis Nedry, Baby Stegosaurus, Metriacanthosaurus. A bunch of cool stuff is coming out, and all the new stuff that was shown off a few months ago is really hard to come by. So I ended up getting mine off of Amazon. I pre-ordered it. It retails for $23.99. I'll leave a link down below in the description if you want to try order it through there. It comes in and out of stock, so just keep checking. I know Entertainment Earth has pre-orders up for these things. Big Bad Toy Store did. Right now they don't. I'm sure they'll get more in eventually. So yeah, little irritating trying to get your hands on new figures, but I'm really happy that I finally got my hands on the Ankylosaurus. So before we crack this figure open, let's go with the package really quick. This is definitely a sizable figure. Just picking up the box definitely has some heft to it. Definitely feels like one of the bigger size figures in this size class. We got the Jurassic Park 30th anniversary logo front and center. Hammond Collection logo down here. We got the T-Rex silhouette, Ankylosaurus. Side of the box, we get a picture of the Ankylosaurus with the Jurassic Park 3 logo. On the back of the box, we get a nice render of the figure on the back. And over here, a little information about the Ankylosaurus. With an unmistakable armored exterior, the Ankylosaurus is one of the many awe-inspiring dinosaurs that Dr. Alan Grant sees by the riverbank on Isla Sorna, even though the Ankylosaurus was first seen when Eric and the Kirbys were stuck up in the tree hiding from the raptors. So yeah, anyways, enough about the packaging. Let's crack this figure open and take a closer look. And it's just like all dinosaurs in the Hammond Collection, just one quick assembly step. You just have to attach the tail, just line up the notches, push it in until you hear it click. That is a one-time assembly, and once it's in, it's not coming back out. And here's the Ankylosaurus out of the package. And I have to say, this is a really impressive figure. Very large for this size class, but it's just beautifully done. Fun fact, this is the first time the JP3 Ankylosaurus has been made into a toy. I think there was a hatchling that came with one of the human figures, but that really doesn't count. So it's really nice to see Mattel giving Jurassic Park 3 dinosaurs some love. And like I said, this figure turned out absolutely great. Look at that. It even has mouth articulation. Pretty weird how that works. Just all the texturing for the armor plate and everything is really well done. There's even a wash over that armor plate to bring out all that detail. You don't see washes on many Mattel figures. There's very few, and I can't even name them right now, but I know there's definitely a couple. But yeah, it looks really nice. It brings out all that beautiful detail on the armor. I like the segmented tail for the articulation. Toe claws aren't painted in, but because they gave it that wash, it makes the armor look so nice and lifelike. I can forgive the toe claws this time for not being painted in. They should be painted in, but it's not bothering me as much as it does on some other figures. And it might be the first Hammond Collection figure so far that doesn't have its toe claws painted in. Whatever, now I'm angry again. But yeah, all around, great looking figure. And now for some measurements. This figure is 11.5 inches long for the tip of the snout to the tip of the club, or just over 29 centimeters, about 3 3/4 inches tall to the top of the armor right here, or about 9.5 centimeters. So the Jurassic World, Jurassic Park Ankylosaurus around 26 feet long, or 8 meters. So I'll put this figure somewhere in the 127 scale range. The line's supposed to be 118 scale, but this brings up a point. Mattel really needs to introduce another size class that's a little bit bigger than this size class, that $23 price point size class, and the larger figure like the T-Rex that will open the door for them to do, a bigger Triceratops, Carnotaurus, Stegosaurus, because right now they're just cranking out, these mid-sized dinosaurs, a lot of the smaller ones, and we're getting another T-Rex this year. So they really need to introduce another size class before they run out of ideas. I think the Ankylosaurus could have benefited from being a little bit bigger. And now let's zoom and take a look at some of the finer details on this figure, starting with the head. Very nicely done. Head sculpt, pretty much movie accurate to how it appeared in JP3, Fallen Kingdom, and Dominion. So yeah, you got a nice splash of red around the eye. The eye is painted a glossy black color. If you're a Collectate fan, you're used to seeing figures with eyes like that. I think it works really well on the Ankylosaurus. Looking at the top right here, you can see that nice wash that brings out all the detail on these osteoderms. Really, really well done. Lots of different variation with these, all the armor on here, and it comes out really, really nice. It gives it a very premium look with that wash. You can see the spikes on the back are painted black. The bottom one is the same color as the rest of the head. It's okay if it's not painted in. The beak is painted gray. You can see the little tongue and gums inside the mouth are painted a bright pink color. Here's a view of the head. On the other side, a nice wide looking head. And then going down to the back. Look at all that beautiful, beautiful armor. Just love that wash that gets in all the crevices of the armor. Very, very well done. You have all the spikes protruding through the rest of the back and along the side. And I think there's a little bit of a wash on the spikes on the side too and up here. So yeah, really nicely done. Really gives this figure a nice premium look. Going down to the legs. Legs are nice and muscular, lots of folds and wrinkles, and nice scale detail, especially around the shoulder. Toe claws aren't painted in. You know, it's not a huge deal to me because the rest of the figure looks absolutely fantastic, but really weird how I think this is like the only dinosaur in the Hammond collection line right now that the toe claws aren't painted. They have these big companies, they have a strict budget they have to follow. So yeah, sacrifice has to be made here and there. Doesn't mean we have to like it, but that's the reality of it. Going down to the hind legs, nice folds and wrinkles around the knee. Got the toes unpainted. And then going down to that really, really nice looking tail. You got some more osteoderms and spikes and a really nice job on the tail club. You got some nice airbrushing for that bone white color for the rest of the club. And spin the figure over. You do have some paint that goes on the underside of that tail club. And then going down, you can see some nice details on the feet, some nice folds and wrinkles on the bottom. You got some black that's all pepper throughout. It's mixed in with the plastic. Give it some more definition. I think it actually turned out quite nice on here. So yeah, all around a really, really nice looking figure. I really like this figure a lot. Now for articulation, the mouth can close completely flush and it can open. It's kind of a pain to open. It gets so flush. I have to use like a tool right here to pop it back open, but pretty cool that you can get such a small mouth on a figure like that. It makes you really wonder what the hell happened with that Triceratops. And then for the head right here, you do have rotation and up and down movement on this neck joint, up, down, and side to side. Let's get the camera to focus in on all that articulation. So yeah, real nice articulation for the head and neck. Going down to the legs, you do get some forwards and backwards movement. Now I wish there was more of a pivot at the legs to give a really nice sprawling look with this figure to get some more foot poses, but that's the extent that these shoulders can move, and that's just a little bit disappointing. I just wish the articulation was a little bit better right here. For the elbows, they can go straight and they can bend just under 90 degrees. You do have rotation at the feet and a little bit of a hinge joint on feet. Same thing for the hind legs. You can move forwards that far before it starts to hit the belly, back all the way. No real pivot on that hip. You get some nice bend on that knee joint and some rotation. The same thing with the legs. You get some down and upwards movement and rotation. And then going down to the tail. Tail is really cool. I actually expected this to be rubber, but it's kind of cool that they gave it a segmented tail. You can get a nice range of movement with that segmented tail. You can get some nice upward movement and downward movement. I wish it was just a little bit more. Maybe a rubber tail could have provided more articulation, but you know what? I'm okay the way it is. Just some critiquing, but all around, I think the articulation of this figure is pretty good. And now for comparisons, first up here is the Hammond Collection Robert Muldoon, and I think they look really nice together. Ankylosaurus was a very, very large animal, so yeah, this figure is quite big. Like I said, I think it's one of the larger figures in this size class, and Muldoon looks really nice next to it. And next up here is the original Fallen Kingdom Ankylosaurus, and how far we have come. You know, these Hammond Collection figures only cost a few dollars more than the mainline figures, and it's just a night and day difference. I can do it without the gimmicks and the sound effects. Hammond Collection is the way to go, and now that they're introducing non-movie dinosaurs like Metriacanthosaurus and Irritator, it's making it very easy for me to collect less and less from the main line. Let's do a little JP3 love. Here it is with the Ceratosaurus, which I still consider one of the best figures in the Hammond Collection. And here is the JP3 male Velociraptor that does not want to stand. There we go. I will say, the JP3 Velociraptor was a letdown. I just think the paint scheme is very bland and feels unfinished. This Ceratosaurus is absolutely fantastic, and like I say, the Ankylosaurus is definitely up there. It might be my second favorite Hammond Collection figure right now. And let's do a few more Hammond collection figures. Let's bring out the shame of the line, the Triceratops. Still no excuse why this thing doesn't have jaw articulation. We're getting a mainline figure Triceratops that has, almost Hammond levels of articulation, and its jaw is articulated and it's bigger. I just don't know why Mattel dropped the ball on this one. And next up here is the Concavinator, which is a great figure. It has the best articulation of any Hammond collection figure so far. And here is the Dilophosaurus. And let's bring out a non-Hammond collection figure. Here it is with the Beast of the Mesozoic Styracosaurus. Beast of the Mesozoic figures are 1/18 scale, so it means they scale with the Mattel Jurassic World line, and they're fully articulated dinosaur figures. They're a different class than the Hammond collection. They're more premium. They're much more expensive. They're better painted, and they're scientifically accurate. But they're articulated figures, and they scale well with the line, and it's just fun to mix and match with them, and just have your different figures posed all around. So yeah, so if you haven't checked out these figures from Beast of Mesozoic, definitely do, because the Tyrannosaurs are out now, and there's a lot of cool stuff coming out, especially when Cyberzoic Kickstarter releases closer to the end of the year. And lastly, here it is with the Hammond collection T-Rex. I'm really hoping we get a Spinosaurus later on this year. They already announced another T-Rex. Most likely it's going to be the buck from the Lost World. But I'm really hoping for a Spinosaurus, and hopefully down the line an Indominus Rex, because there's a lot of large dinosaurs that Mattel can do, but they're probably just going to milk and release maybe 1 or 2 a year just to keep us going. So final thoughts on the JP3 Ankylosaurus. It's a great addition to the Hammond collection. Mattel really went all out on the paint job. Just love the wash on all the armor. It makes it look really premium. It feels like it is a much more expensive figure than what it is. It costs 23 bucks. I'll give Mattel that. The figures are very affordable, and this is a great looking figure. The articulation is really good on it. Just wish there's a little bit more articulation at the shoulder joint and the hind legs. Other than that, I think the figure turned out absolutely fantastic. Maybe my second favorite figure in the Hammond collection so far. Now, like I said at the beginning of the review, these newer figures are kind of a pain in the ass to find right now. We all pre-ordered it, 3 months ago on Target. They're still sitting there with no release date. I'm sure they're going to show up soon, maybe before Easter. That's probably my guess. We're going to see a ton of these hit stores, but I got mine off of Amazon. Link is down below in the description. You can also check out Entertainment Earth and Big Bad Toy Store for their pre-orders, just to try to get your hands on these new figures. Up until this point, Hammond collection was pretty easy. Well, if you're in the US, to get your hands on, but for some reason right now it's just kind of a little bit tricky, but I'm sure it's going to get better. So that will do it for the review. The only other Hammond collection figure I'm still looking for is that elusive Pachycephalosaurus. Every time I go to pre-order it, it's always sold out. I'm sure I'll get my hands on one of those eventually. I definitely want to get my hands on 3, but I'll be happy if I can at least get 1. So once I get that, I will finally review the Ray Arnold figure that a lot of people have been asking me for. I like to review the human figure that comes out with smaller dinosaurs together, and he's been sitting in his box for the last month and a half whenever I found him at Target. So once I get my hands on a Packy, I will be reviewing Ray Arnold. So that will do it for the review. As always, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, show your support by hitting that subscription button just below the video. Each subscription helps out the channel tremendously, and it's greatly appreciated. And I'll see you guys for the next one.